Just being aware that something is incomplete for us and that we need to find our wholeness is the first step. Now we try to find a method. This is where things start to get confusing. So many paths. The other difficulty is that we create this thing called enlightenment, and the very idea that there is something so mysterious and wonderful puts it far away from us, when in fact, it is quite near. Yet, another challenge is that we believe that enlightenment is a specific event, and once it has occurred, poof. We are now enlightened. Millions of people perhaps have waited for this elusive moment and it never came. It is my contention now that this realization is something we grow into and not a sudden flash. It can be that too. But taking a slow, steady path that indeed gets us where we want to be is better than sitting around and waiting. The enlightenment game becomes by its nature totally me-oriented. The more we assert there is something other than myself that I have to find, the more we will always be searching for it. This brings a lot of disappointments. In my own journey, I did have an enlightenment experience when I was young. I have included a link to the story. However, I did not have the needed character formation in order to own it. I now know that character formation comes first. Going from me to we, being polite and thoughtful, and not harming people in thought, word or deed are a good beginning. Then we have to get out of our head. Meditate on the heart. It is easy, and the heart is the source of love, compassion, intuition, and so many other good qualities that meditating there magnifies these qualities in our life. The more we can get away from our me thinking, the more enlightenment will come chasing after us. I answered this in another question, which I will link to before I leave, but let me amble through your awareness for a time first. If you ponder the most enjoyable times in your life so far, I'm willing to bet they involved a relative absence of verbal thought. When you are enjoying the ephemeral gorgeous colors of a sunset, listening to or performing a wonderful piece of music, or remembering your first kiss, you will likely begin to notice that the verbal mind, with its insistence on describing things, was, for those brief moments of pure joy, almost if not completely absent. There is a moment of intensely beautiful experience in which words would obviously be intrusive and distractive. There is a sense that the world is standing still. Thought disappears, and you may even find yourself breathless if you are not so enamored of the beauty of that moment that you can still be aware of your breath. See? There's your sign. Take a hint from that, and from all the brilliant spiritual teachers of the world who have recommended stopping the internal dialogue, Carlos Castaneda's Juan Matus, or Be Still and Know That I Am God, Jesus, and be inspired by such poetic utterances about the state of enlightenment such as the Book of Nothing, the third patriarch of Zen. Before long, you will realize that the verbal mind, and your sense of identification with it, is and has been standing in the way of the simplest and most obvious of facts, which is that who you actually are is attention, and the ability to focus that attention in whatever way you choose. But you will also soon realize that focusing your attention on the immense beauty that surrounds you is your shortest path to greater happiness, whether you are choosing to experience the beauty of the natural world, the vast universe, the creations of another conscious being, such as music, or your own creations of any kind, and that with few exception, the mind's tendencies to describe those things in words is actually the enemy of your intention to truly experience them. The mind wants to take credit for your experiences so that you will think it is your creator and your God, so it will do anything to distract you from the sheer beauty of all that can be experienced directly, but you will soon realize that this is like taking your hand and dragging you out of the lovely sunlit day outside in the infinite world of fresh air, and dragging you into a closed library with no windows, but filled instead with an endless infinity of some mere 30,000 words, or whatever your vocabulary is, combined in a sea of books which will keep you locked indoors forever, reading mere black and white printed pages of what you could be experiencing directly if only mind were silent. Once you recognize this clearly, you will experience some amazing emotions, such as unbearable sorrow and grief at your seeming loss of the ability to silence the mind at will, and simply enjoy the lovely feelings created by your choice to focus unwaveringly on the beautiful sunset, the music, the face of your lover, the gentle sigh of the wind through the leaves, the expansiveness of feeling the space which fills the universe around you, etc. And at some point surrender must occur in response to your anguish and your unwavering desire to know what is possible in that peace that passes understanding, because it goes beyond the words which can never describe or explain it. In that instant, which contains the fullness of infinity, oneness is recognized, remembered, and re-established. The verbal mind gives up insisting it is you. You give up insisting you are the dialogue which has insisted on describing the world to you, while distracting you from feeling and experiencing it as it is, a neutral canvas of complex and beautiful simplicity and ugliness which only you can assign meaning to. It is the Garden of Eden all over again, waiting for you to name it, label it, describe it, judge it, and assign any and all meaning to it, as you wish. At that point, you will know that everything you experience is a reflection of the beliefs you are projecting onto the endless forms around you, so you will cease the unnecessary use of the internal dialogue to label and judge and react to what you experience, and will learn to enjoy experiencing what is, what occurs, without any judgment at all, or better yet, with judgments which assert and actually create the best possible interpretation of what is taking place, as though it were created by an infinitely powerful, beneficent being whose sole intention is unconditional love for all, because that is who you are, and in the growing silence, you will come to know this more and more.